What's going on? You're watching NFL Daily. Let's get into this mailbag here. Every single mailbag, Monday, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. You see that big red bar down below? It says subscribe. Go ahead and do that. How much would it take for Seattle to get Stephon Gilmore, Daddy Mitch? Wow, we're just all over the place with this one. I'm not the daddy. It's Tom, just so we're very, very clear on that. In terms of going out and getting Gilmore, if you can give up a second-round pick, that's the route you got to do. I mean, obviously you can't give up a first-rounder because you don't have any. But for the Patriots, they've sat here and said for a while that they would like to be able to get a first-round pick for the 2019 Offensive Player of the Year. But if you can get him for a second-rounder, shit, why not? Jason Hammer, you're first up. What wide receiver will go to the Seahawks, or who do you want to go to the Seahawks? I understand they're looking for a wide receiver 3. However, I don't really know any players that could potentially be on their radar. I know we did a video about some potential trade candidates as well. If I'm Seattle, I'm going to not trade for a receiver, and I don't really know if there's a receiver I'd sign. Maybe a guy like D.D. Westbrook could potentially be there, but I'm going to sit tight with the guys I got and really try to focus on keeping Russell happy, which is maybe more focusing on that offensive line. Seahawks, speaking of them, speaking of Seattle, Seahawks cut Brandon Shell, then sign Morgan Moses, or should they make it a training camp battle versus Shell and Forsythe? I mean, if you could go out and get Morgan Moses, I think it'd be an absolute great pick there. I was pretty surprised that Washington decided to move on from him in the first place. And I know we talked about it. Somebody asked me about a receiver earlier on in this mailbag. I would take Morgan Moses. I mean, that'd be the guy that I would try to put at right tackle to keep Russell Wilson happy. So, but if you want to keep some competition, and I don't think that's ever a bad thing. So, sure, keep the competition, go get Moses. Harley Guy 27, should the Seahawks make Jamal Adams the highest paid safety? Well, first we'll give some context to this, and Harley, if you're a Seahawks fan, the link is below. Should they go ahead and do it? I mean, if you give up 2 first-round picks for somebody, that kind of tells me that, okay, you need to be able to go out and pay him a lot of money. In terms of making the highest paid safety, I'll give you my answer here in a little bit. Y for yes, N for no. Should Seattle make Adams the highest paid safety in the National Football League? If you're going to type your Y for yes, I'll say, do you really want to give all that money to somebody who's really not very good at being able to cover? And then also in terms of, like, if you're going to type no, you have to remember you also gave up 2 first-round picks. So in terms of context, the highest paid safety in the league, it's Justin Simmons. Budda Baker is also on that list as well. When I show you the numbers here in terms of how much it's going to cost Seattle, that might change your opinion. But for me personally, I'm going to sit here and I'm actually going to head and type my N for no. I wouldn't go ahead and do it. But you got Justin Simmons, Budda Baker, Eddie Jackson, Kevin, and then Tyrann Mathieu, Byard. I'm not going to pay him more than Simmons. I'm not going to pay him more than Budda Baker because they're simply better. Sure, you're kind of going into the NFL where, all right, just because he's the highest paid guy doesn't make him the best. But I'm not going to give Jamal Adams that much money. However, I do think Seattle ends up doing it because they gave up 2 first-round picks. All right, y'all, get your votes in here. Chat Sports Team and I, we've been thinking about starting up a new YouTube channel, and we predicate ourselves on being interactive. So help us pick a brand new YouTube channel, and if you don't know how many we already have, we basically already have half the NFL covered. You can go check out all those channels at youtube.com/chatsportstv. But what I want you to do, help us pick a brand new channel that we should go ahead and launch. So comment your team. I see some people spamming Bills right now. Somebody said Seahawks. We already have a Seahawks channel. So you know what? I see a lot of Bills in the comments. Maybe I'll go tell the bosses that Bills Mafia goes ahead and that they deserve a channel. Packers as well. So right now it's between Bills and Packers. If you haven't already, go sub to Chat Sports, though, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Let's go to the next question here on NFL Daily. We got Lucky Lenny 777. Should the Seahawks sign a defensive tackle like Jurrell Casey or Kawann Short? I still think defensive tackle is a need. Poona Ford is one of the most underappreciated NFL players. I know Seahawks fans appreciate him, but a lot of people don't know how good Poona Ford is. So could you go out and add a veteran presence like Jurrell Casey or Kawann Short? I mean, I definitely would at least add a defensive tackle. I'd also throw out a name like Geno Atkins could be another player to keep in mind. But if you're telling me I got to pick between Casey and Kawann Short, and if you guys want to get your votes in here, please do. JC for Jurrell Casey or KS for Kawann Short. Who do you think is the better defensive tackle? I want you to go down in the comment section and let me know. I'm going to type JC. No disrespect to Short. I know he was a Pro Bowler in 2018. Back-to-back injury-riddled seasons. But for Casey, another player who had 14 tackles last year, got banged up. But before last year, I mean, he never really got hurt. I believe he missed 5 games in his entire career before last year. Give me Jurrell Casey. Go to 4Hype or 3Channel friend. Who was the better player back then, Earl Thomas or Cam Chancellor? That's a really good question. I'm actually probably going to go with Cam Chancellor, and the only reason why I'm going to go this route is because it was called the Legion of Boom. This is really a defense where Cam was kind of just thrown into a position where not a lot of people thought he'd be able to thrive, where he was playing linebacker, he was playing safety, but really bringing that physicality. Obviously, Earl Thomas was a great player as well, but they had a lot more help in the secondary. I'm going to say the Chancellor because he also brought a lot of fear to players going over the middle. So give me Bam Bam. If you are looking for more free videos around your favorite NFL teams or some breaking news, more live mailbags, hit that big red button that says subscribe and turn on those notifications because I don't want you all to miss anything. We have a lot of fun here on our live shows, and we go live twice a week. And if there's breaking news, we're giving it to you even more. And if you want stuff on the NBA, guess what? We do that too. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. What up, Leo? Rank Dak, Watson, Allen, Jackson, and Brady. Again, stay tuned if you're watching this live, but I don't want to give it away. I'll say the worst quarterback on that list, for me personally, it's Dak. Let's go to PM YouTubers. Rank, okay, who you think will have the best career, not as prospects. Jamar Chase, CD, Devonta Smith, Jefferson, Judy, Ruggs, and Jalen Waddle. So if I had to say not as prospects and just like in terms of where they are right now and overall fit, I mean, you almost have to give it to Justin Jefferson after the year that man just had. I'll then go on and say Jamar Chase being paired up with Joe Burrow. I think it's going to be really good for him. CeeDee Lamb, I'll throw out there. Then I'm going to go with somebody like Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, and then Henry Ruggs. ACB collects. What do you collect? Which sophomore quarterback has a sophomore slump this year? All right, this is a fun question. In terms of a sophomore slump, I might actually go ahead. I don't want to say the name Joe Burrow, but just because like people might get mad at me for that. I don't think Herbert has a slump. Tua could potentially have a slump, but when I also think of a sophomore slump, it's like he had a great rookie year and then has a bad year. I can't say that Tua had a great year, and I don't think it's Herbert. So if Burrow struggles with a knee injury, shit, I'll go with him, Burrow. Do you think Tua or Joe Burrow will be better this year? I should tell you to go check out the power rankings as well. I'll say that I actually think that Tua might have the higher ceiling due to that offense with all the position players they have around him. But I'm a betting man, and I'm going to go with Joe Burrow because I have Joe Burrow as ranked as a better prospect, and I also really like the fact that they gave him Jamar Chase. So I'm going to go ahead and say Joe Burrow. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns, and maybe that's kind of like the cheap way to go about it, but they were the best offensive line this year. I think they're going to be the best offensive line again this year in terms of people. We always talk about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I'm not taking anything away from those two running backs. They're great. They're also really freaking good because the offensive line is super impressive. Best wide receiver trio. The best receiver trio in the entire league right now. If you're not going to throw in tight ends, so if we're just going to cancel out the tight end room, I mean, you probably got to go Tampa Bay, right? Like, I hate Antonio Brown, FAB, but, I mean, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown. I mean, that's pretty tough to beat. You can't put in Seattle. They probably the best 2 wide receivers in DK and Tyler Lockett. I mean, Arizona's up there now. If you got a healthy A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, that deserves some love. But, yeah, I'm probably going to have to go with Tampa Bay. So, that is what it is. Who is the most underrated quarterback right now? The most underrated quarterback in the National Football League right now, I'm going to say Ryan Tannehill, because everything that man has been able to do for that team is really outstanding. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's Derrick Henry. Look at Derrick Henry's numbers before and after Ryan Tannehill. He has done so much for that offense. I have him as a top 10 quarterback, and he might not be the biggest reason why they win games, but he's also a big-time reason why they don't lose games. So I'll go out and say Ryan Tannehill. Rams, Niners, Cards, Hawks, NFC West standings in that order this year. So that's, I think, what you're saying is your prediction is going to be. I'm going to go out there, and I am going to say that I actually believe that, yes, it's Matthew Stafford and the Rams. They're going to be the best team in that division simply because of that defense alone. And then I'm going to go with Seattle, then I'm going to go with Arizona, and then I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. But it wouldn't surprise me if three teams ended up making the playoffs. I don't know if all 4 can finish with an above 500 record, but I do think all 4 of those teams are at least 8 wins. So, we'll see. Let's go to Rashard Lee. Who gets traded first, Rodgers, Watson, or Julio? If I had to rank all of them, it's going to be Julio first, Rodgers second, Watson third. I would be shocked if anybody trades for Watson just simply because you don't exactly know what's going on with him. Do you guys see the 2022 salary cap news? Supposedly cap ceiling is set to exceed $208 million. Yes, I believe the exact number is $208.2 million, which is definitely a significant upgrade. I believe it's about $28 million more than what you're looking at right now in this year. So you're going to see it's one of the biggest reasons why you saw a lot of one-year contracts this past year, because they knew the salary cap is going to go up. Shout out to the TV deals. If I missed your question, always know that, hey, I'm sorry, we can't get to all of them. My DMs, though, on Instagram are open for a reason. I just crossed 20,000 followers a few weeks ago, and one of the biggest reasons is because I go in my DMs, I answer questions. So if you guys want to talk to me about your favorite NFL team, if you want to ask me the question, because guess what? I couldn't get to it here on the show. Remember, the DMs are open on Instagram. I am at Mitchell Renz 365. So please go ahead, hit me up right now, because we got 340 people watching this bad boy. Let me know. Hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365.